What is up to all the boomers out there? We have got a special deck tech for Dash IO coming at you this week. I won my ProQuest this weekend with this one. Very excited about it, especially since I was able to do it on Dash IO. So a little bit of context here. The week before, I was talking to the person who had won the ProQuest down that I was doing it at that time, and they were on Aurora. And I was like, man, if I want to win one of these, do I just have to switch to Aurora and play that deck? It just seems so busted because he was playing the deck for literally a week. And he gave me all of his notes, all of his matchup guide, everything. Like literally a paragraph on every single matchup. And I was like, all right, so I tested out Aurora for a few days on Monday and Tuesday. And I just like wasn't feeling it. It was just not fun. Like I was playing and I'm like, this deck's busted, like, of course. But I was just like, I honestly think that my best chance of winning an entire ProQuest would come down to me having a good time while doing it. So that's what I decided to do. I decided to run it back with the same exact 80 I did the week before, which did not go very well for me, honestly. Like that week, I went 2-3 at my ProQuest and just couldn't get there. I mean, it was a room with 33% Jarl and Florian, which we'll talk about some matchups in a little bit, but not the best matchups that we could be finding. This week, however, was a little bit better suited for me. So, first of all, I want to talk about my preparation. I want to go over and talk and just like call out everybody that helped me out for all of this. Like, ever since I started this channel, it's just been to get better. And I really prioritize talking to people who I know are better than me. And I want to shout out to Taro, Aaron Cutbirth, Raphael, Inez, and Rosie. All five of them are people that I've interviewed before. And just like being able to talk to these people who are better than me and can kind of math out the game a little bit better has really like helped me prepare in situations and kind of walk through lines easier. It's just also been a lot of hard work. I mean, I've been streaming, I've been making videos, I've been talking to people, I've been tweaking this deck list for weeks now, trying to figure out what is the best 80 that I could possibly bring. Another thing that I want to talk about with preparation is something that I talked to Mara Ferris about, and that is called intentional testing. And not just playing games on Talishar, not just running games like even in armories and everything. Like I made it a specific goal this week to every single game that I play, go in and take notes during it. Of course, like not during my ProQuest, I can't do that. But if I'm playing in an armory or I did a stream the Thursday before this ProQuest, and I sat back and I took notes before the game. What is my game plan going to be? How am I sideboarding? And then at a certain point, I could tell that, okay, this is a pivotal turn right here. I'm going to stop. I'm going to lean back a little bit and just look at it from 1,000 feet up and try to figure out at what point or exactly how do I play this game out to where I win this game. It's quite interesting, like whenever you take time to actually take a higher level view of the game rather than just playing turn cycle to turn cycle. Because sometimes you can get caught up in tunnel vision and, okay, I need to max V this turn or something. But it's like you need to be able to step back for a second and really take a breath and take all the game in and figure out exactly where are we going from this point. So thanks, Mara, for kind of giving me that idea, and I think that that really helped. And last but not least, I want to shout out my Codex journal that I have right here. I bought this specifically for this ProQuest season so that I could like take some notes and just like it's a nice little thing. It lets you say who you're playing against, like what tier you think they are, how familiar are you, what do you think the percentage for you is, and then some reflections on the game and if you've come to new conclusions about it. Really like this thing. It's really helpful. I have been using it this entire ProQuest season, and it's been a really nice addition to my to my backpack for card games. And it's also really nice that you can just like flip it and track life, and then so it makes it a little bit smaller if the tables are kind of cramped sometimes. But yeah, so I'll basically just be reading off this. Well, we'll go into the deck tech first, and then we'll get into the tournament report. And so we'll hop into the deck tech right here. So this is the 80 that I brought to my ProQuest that I had won. We played 5 rounds. It was a really fun time. Thank you for everybody who I played against. Always just a bunch of chill people. Love it. So we'll go over the equipment here. So playing Achilles Accelerator, we actually don't have the other feat in here, which I do really like the other feat. If assassins come back, then they're very good into assassins just because it's one extra. If there's a lot of Azalea in your meta, it's also very good versus Azalea because it's one extra block. You could put a whole fridge in front of a dominated red in the ledger. And also Warriors, it's very good versus Warriors because it is just really that one extra block. One reason why I'm not bringing the extra feat is purely deck slots. And then another thing about it is if you're expecting a large fatigue meta, then that one extra block doesn't really matter. But the 2 extra cards you have to banish for you to get the 2 action points really make a big difference. Because if you're playing into a Jarl or a Florian or a Verdance, a lot of the times you're winning with 1 or 2 cards left in your deck. And sometimes even 0 cards left. Like you're just barely getting over the top. So it's really important to keep as many cards as possible. Going into that, we also have Teklo Foundry Heart, which is another thing of if you're playing into these fatigue matchups or maybe a warrior who can pivot into fatigue, then it's really important that you only use heart whenever you need to use heart. Like if it's enabling a guaranteed max V, then sure, go for it. But if you're just like gonna use heart to play, I don't know, just 2 more 4 attacks or something like that, I would just arsenal one of the 4 attacks or maybe pitch it away to play to keep your deck density. We have Symbiosis Shot, also another. So this is mono Symbiosis Shot. There is no Hinabi Blaster in here. Another thing of if mid range comes around where it's like not really disruptive decks anymore. I think Symbiosis. I think Hinabi is good versus Florian specifically, Florian and Verdance, because they have a little bit of disruption. But if they're not really disrupting you, then like it's not really that big of a deal. You can get your 3 boosts off and you can kind of hit them. But I also just like the Symbiosis Shot. One match that I played the weekend before against the Florian, who always top eights. He's a very good player. He was like, I've never seen somebody use the pistol as well as you're using it because every single turn it was like 3-4-2, 3-4-2, and I was walking him down super well until I got pretty unlucky with one of my max V turns. I had 4 looks to find either a yellow or a blue, and I just kept seeing reds. So to draw with the cerebellum and my extra action point. So I wasn't able to play my max V with a boom grenade behind. So at that point I had lost the game. But before then, he was at about 18 health and I still had about 34 cards left in deck. So that's exactly where you want to be. Whenever you're playing against these Florians, these Verdances, these Jarls, you're really calculating, like it doesn't really matter what your life total is unless they're like actually killing you. It more so matters what their life total is in comparison to your deck total. So you always want to keep their life total lower than how many cards you have in your deck. If it's ever like they have 18 cards left in your deck, or you have 18 cards left in your deck, and they have 18 life, the game's probably over. I don't really see a way that you're getting over the top of blocking 12, maybe even more if they still have equipment left. And especially with Symbiosis Shot and not on Hinabi, it's just so hard to bring it back once you don't have enough cards left in your deck. Because then with 18 cards left in your deck, you really only have like 2 or 3 turns left. In like maybe 2 big turns left. Like it kind of depends on the deck density and how well you've been at keeping your reds in your deck. That's another important thing when playing these matchups is deck density. Of course, with DIO, we're sparking a lot, so it doesn't really matter what your pitch stack exactly is until you've seen the last spark. Then you should start tracking pitch stack. A more important part of it is actually just deck density. Am I pitching my reds? Do I still have a lot of 0 cost boosts? Do I still have zipper hits and 0 to 60s left? Because these are like the 2 best cards in your deck. That's like keeping the reds in your deck, keeping items in your deck, keeping backup protocols in your deck. is kind of the most important part about these matchups. You don't really want to blow your load at the beginning. Against like Florian, it's kind of weird because you want to do it before they're turned on, and then right after they turn on in the mid game, you want to take some setup turns. You want to take some like nice little like maybe like 4-3 gun item or something like that, and just do like a little setup turn, or maybe even 3 gun items, something like, or 3 item gun. If you're able to like possibly play something off the top, that's really what you're looking to do. Smaller setup turns, try to leak through a little bit of damage. That's the important part. Adaptive plating and Crown of Providence, both are just staples. Not really anything better in slot. You could potentially be playing the gauntlets from Mistveil. I forget what they're called. They block for 1 and give -1. They're decent. Once ninjas come back around, they might be better, especially if the Spreading Flames plus Rake the Embers Syndra list that I've been seeing, maybe the Phi list that runs Spreading Flames too, could come in for them, because I think that Phi list is kind of scary. That's what I played in the finals, and honestly, that's one of the matchups that I'm scared of the most. Crown of Providence, just still insane. I mean, you get to know what you're drawing. You get to either bottom your arsenal or a card in hand. If it's a CNC, you get to bottom your arsenal. It's just so good. Red backup protocol, red boom grenade, yellow boom grenade. We've been over these a million times. Awesome cards. This is pretty much what allows you to get over the top if you're playing any of the fatigue matchups, because most of the time you want to come in for a 4, they'll block 3, and then you play your boom grenade. You're not going to crank it. You're just going to let it sit there. And if they block for 3, then they have to put another D-React on top of it, and they lose either 3 value if it's a Sink Below or a Carapace or something like that, or they lose 2 value if it's a That All You Got, and they don't get to draw the card off of your Symbiosis Shot coming later. Very good cards. I mean, these are the way that you do it. Backup Protocol Red lets you buy back a Max V, so you can go Max V into turn and buy back a Max V at the end in Arsenal and a pass. Fender Bender, or Fast and Furious, also great card. 0 for 4 potentially. Also can put steam counters on your processors, steam counters on your grenades. Just a really great card. If I had the choice to put a steam counter on a processor or a grenade into one of these fatigue matchups, I'm actually probably putting it onto the grenade so that I can just have another turn of threatening that. Because yeah, they're running a lot of D-Reacts, but they're also running a lot of 2 blocks. They're also not going to have the D-Reacts every single turn. Like, that would just be insane for them to line it up like that, honestly. Like, it's just not happening. Fender Bender, I actually got asked about this one. So, we have the traditional 1 for 4 list, and we have the 0s and 2s list. I prefer the 1 for 4s because I like hitting that break point. I like being able to go over the top. Just they can't just 1 block me, and if I do play boom off the top, then they have to try to put a defense reaction behind it, and then at that point the boom grenade is getting 3 value whenever it could be getting 4, or if they're stopping a yellow boom grenade with that, we're going neutral, and the boom grenade might still hit later. But Fender Bender is probably the weakest of these 1 for 4s. It kind of depends on your local meta. I just like being able to discourage people from blocking with equipment as much as possible, because I don't want them to do this. It's also very good versus the Warriors. It's like, this is unblockable by just like dynamos. They hate this so much. But it just gives you a little bit more reach and a little bit more discouragement on equipment. There was one turn where I was going against the Face Purgatory, and instead of them using their Face Purg on that turn, I actually get to go Max V, because I was able to play a 0 to 60 red, and they didn't really block that. They were like, yeah, whatever, like, that's fine. And then I played a Fender Bender, and it's like, do I really want to put this Face Purg and 2 cards in front of it? It's not that, honestly, it's probably even better to do it then, but there's just like the psychological thing of like, gets plus X, where X is the amount of equipment you block with. And then they're like, okay, I don't want to give it plus anything. Like, it's just like a little psychological thing, I guess. And then I attacked with an outpace, and they can't Face Purg it. So it's just like, okay, cool. I get this guaranteed max V here, and you didn't get to use your face perk for it. You're probably going to use it later for something not as good. Running 3 heists. So I know that I said I don't really like the 2s very much. As you can see, I'm not running Twin Drive. Twin Drive just always feels so clunky. I just don't like that card very much. It gets rid of more cards in your deck. It just clunks up your hand super hard. But the on hit from Heist is always respected. It should always be respected because this is another pistol shot. Or if there's a processor in the banish, then it's another processor. Or if there's a backup protocol, then there's a protocol in there. Like, there's just so many good targets. I mean, everything is a good target for Heist. Teklo core. I guess the worst thing would probably be null time zone. But like, even then, that's just another pistol shot. It's great, and it comes with 2 counters, so it stays for 2 turns. Even if you crank it for the second pistol shot. Max V, this is what the deck's built around. Of course, we're trying to play 2 Max Vs a game. If we're playing against the fatigue matchups, 3 Max Vs a game. We're playing 3 of them so that we can see them all the time. Yeah, it does suck to draw 3 or draw 2 at the same time, but it's also just like, we're gonna live with it. We're like, you can't not play 3 of them. You boost 1, you block with 1, you play 1, you back up protocol 1 back, and then you play that 1 too. That's kind of the idea behind Max V. Outpace, by far the best. Not by far the best 1-for-4. This is the best 1-for-4, like, without any like disruptive effects. Pulse Wave Harpoon is definitely the best 1-for-4, but Outpace, great card. Can't be defended by equipment. Everybody wants to be defended with their equipment. You can't do it. Okay? You can't put your Tunic plus a card whenever you're at 3 life and there's a boom grenade on board. You can't do it at the beginning of the game to get max value off of your chess piece if you're an Earth, your Earth Lore bounty. Is that what that one is? I don't remember. But the Earth chess piece, whatever. You can't block face perk you can't block it with face perk. It's just so good. This is definitely one of my favorite cards in the deck. At one point I was running the blue ones as well. I think maybe even that could be over the blue zipper hits. I don't really think the 2 versus the 3 and this can't be blocked by equipment. Might be better. Pulse Wave Harpoon, this is your bread and butter versus decks like Aurora or Phi or Syndra, any of the aggro mirrors. I am saving Pulse Wave Harpoons like I'm saving Max Vs. Like, they're so important to be running these Pulse Wave Harpoons because their 3-card hands, you take 1 card from their hand and their turn becomes dog. Like, you're able to just stop them from Mask of the Pound, or not Mask of the Pouncing Lynx, that one too, but Mask of Omenum and Mask of the Pouncing Lynx, both of those just absolutely destroy. If you're able to, maybe Aurora blocks with 1 card from hand, or if you're able to go 4 boosts in a row. I guess Aurora doesn't really matter anymore, but if you're able to go 4 boosts in a row and you get to look at all the cards in their hand and you get to take an action, maybe you're looking at Aurora hand and it's like 3 instants and 1 attack, and that was like what made their hand work. And then they do nothing. Like, this card's just so good in the aggro matchups. This is one of the most important cards that you can have for those matchups right there. Sprocket Rocket, I like this one. I've actually even grown to like this one more. This could be a 0-for-4, so that's amazing. We're looking for more 0-for-4s. LSS, please give us some more with boost. And this one puts one of the items, like maybe you see something early, or maybe you've already played like a boom grenade off the top, or maybe you've already played something off the top, and then like you see another item, it's like, okay, this is Sprocket right now. So it could be a 0-for-4 that way, or maybe you don't really need the item right now. Maybe you're playing a little bit of a slower matchup and you see your first processor, but you're like, I don't think I need that definitely right now. You can just go boom or boost your processor off the top, and then it's a 0-for-4 there, and it puts a processor for ice later. That's really the main thing between these 2 cards, is so good. I mean, of course, like everything can boost an item off the top, but like this one gets value for that, and then this one gets value for later in the game. You're able to come 7 dominate on hit, get a processor back. So that's really what we're looking for. T-Bone, I love this card still. Just amazing card. It rips their equipment away. It's a little bit less good now that like Syndra's not the best deck in the meta, but like whenever we get to this people are talking about what's the next best aggro deck now that Aurora is going to be leaving. We have Syndra, we have Dio, we have Arachne slip through the cracks, and Fi. I think Fi's extremely slept on. But all of these decks really need to have like a lot of equipment. If you're able to early game strip a Fi's their arm piece, or if you're able to get a Flick Knives early from either Slippy or Sidra, then like you're really sitting pretty. I mean, I guess they wouldn't give you Flick Knives early first. They would give you like their chest or their helmet piece probably. But yeah, this card just like, especially once we start getting into these decks that have like no equipment anymore, might even be or all temper equipment or all blade break equipment, might be time to go back to the rainbow T-bones. 0 to 60. So of course reds and blues, like those are just staple within everything. But the yellows, some people are like, why are we playing yellows 0 to 60? It doesn't really make sense, because why not just play another 0 for 3, but one with an on hit? Maybe Expedite, maybe the Opt one. Honestly, I think that the yellow is just good enough, because if you have 0 to 60, 0 to 60, and or 0 to 60 T-Bone, 0 to 60 Sprocket Rocket, and a yellow one, and you have a 1 cost, then you're able to go 0 cost boost, 0 cost boost, 1 cost boost, Heart, Max V. So I think that alone makes it good enough to, it's better than threatening an on hit with the 0 for 3, because the 0 for 3 on hits honestly aren't effective. Like maybe you could get an Expedite to put a processor on board and crank it and get the extra action point. I would rather be able to play a Max V. Like that's what I'm putting the processor on the board for anyway. So this is just allowing me to play more Max Vs. And then another thing with the blue zipper hits, honestly, maybe the blue outpaces are better. Could be true. I think that otherwise zipper hit yellow and red are both superb cards. I mean, a 1 for 5 with Go Again, 1 for 5 Go Again. This breaks math. This is 0 for 4 with Go Again. This is the math that gets broken here. This is how the deck wins, is by doing these overrate cards with this. And speaking of overrate cards, we have Spark of Genius. This is Pot of Greed, except you get to choose one of the cards you draw. This is amazing. It just says draw 2 cards all the time. I love this card. It extends your turns. It is exactly what you need it to be all the time. Just amazing. If you get to play an item off the top and crank it, and then boost, and then play a spark. Yes. If you boost, play a spark, find an item on the top after that. Yes. Like this is the best card in the deck. Like this is really what kind of glues everything together. Processor is your main spark target. Very nice, very good to have at all times. Whenever you're in the aggro matchups, if you're able to just like sit there with a processor on board the entire game, then you're chilling, you're Gucci. You're just gonna always have that. Just always have the threat to go an extra wider, go draw a card. And yeah, I mean, processor, spark, just 2 great cards. Now this is a little bit maybe a little bit more controversial here. Only 2 Teklo cores. We'll go into this first. We have the 2 Teklo cores. Not 3. Honestly, this card doesn't crank. I really want to be cranking off the top as much as possible. But it's also really, really, really good for those fatigue matchups to let you play true 5-6 card hands if you have a Sparker, if you have a processor. And this, like, you don't even need to pitch anymore. This card is great for that, but the fact that it doesn't crank makes me not want to see it off the top as much, and honestly only spark for it. And then we have Null Time Zone. So this card is kind of just like a knowledge check on the game. To play this card, you need to be knowing what everybody else is trying to do. There's some classic stuff. You can name Rootbound Carapace versus the Earth Heroes. That's probably the best name versus Verdance or Florian. They run at least 6 of them. Some people are running 9. So Rootbound Carapace and those 2. If they've already played a lot of Rootbound Carapace, they haven't played Sink Belows yet, name Sink Below. Any deck, name Sink Below. They're going to be playing that card versus you. One thing that you don't want to name is... what's it called? The new D-React that blocks 4 and you can discard it. Take Shelter. Shelter the Storm. Don't name that card because they can just still discard it to its effect, so they can still go block 3 and then have the one prevention floating, and then one prevention floating, one prevention floating. You don't really want to name that one. And if they already have it in Arsenal, doesn't matter. They can still play it from Arsenal. Something versus Fang that's really good to name is I see most Fangs are running through 6 scar tissues, the reds and the yellows. That's a really good one to name. For the Fang matchup. If you're going against Vincent, then most of the time they're running 6 of the card that make rune chance whenever you attack. Malefic Incantation. That's a good name versus them. Also, if you ever know what the card does, like I'm saying right now, it's like, oh, the one that makes rune chance on attack, but you can't remember it while you're at a tournament, you can at any point call a judge over and say, Judge, there's a card in Kano that if he surges, he draws 2 cards. What is the name of that card? And the judge has to tell you. So if there's no like get got on, haha, you don't know the name of the card. As long as you know what the effect is, you can ask the judge and be like, what is the name of this card? It does this. And the judge will tell you. They'll look it up for you and they'll tell you. I'm sure most of the time your opponent will tell you, but if they don't, then the judge will come up and tell you. Coming into the sideboard here, so as we see, 64 cards. This is basically what I play into every matchup, is just these 64 cards. Versus the super aggro matchups, I will cut the 2 null time zones. So like Aurora, you don't have to worry about null time zone. You're not what you're gonna name. You're just cutting this. Fi, you're cutting this. It doesn't block. It's just not good enough. And then I'll also cut the 2 heists, or 2 of the heists and 2 of the null time zones, so that basically I keep my density here. I know that heist is good for the on hit, especially in the aggro matchups. Maybe you could cut the two of the yellow 0 to 60s. Maybe you could cut 2 fender benders just to keep the heist on hit. That's kind of up to you. I've been cutting the heist because I just like getting rid of those 2 costs so that I can hit more max Vs. And the reason why I'm cutting 4 cards to go to 60 is so that I can see Max V, Processor, and Spark as soon as possible, and Pulse Wave Harpoon. Those are the cards that really let you win the game. So cutting down to 60 just to make it as fast as possible seeing those cards. And then we have the full fatigue matchups where I'm just bringing every single one of these cards in and switching out the adaptive plating for the Goliath gauntlets. So I'm playing 74 cards into those and playing Goliath Gauntlet. Playing this Convection Amplifier allows me to pop Goliath Gauntlet, activate Convection Amplifier, and heist for 7. Now, you really want to do that with a bunch of Teklo Pounders on the field, too. So, against the Fatigue matchups, there's 2 ways you can play this game, and you don't get to choose. The deck's going to tell you what you're going to do. Maybe at the beginning of the game, you see 3 Teklo Pounders, or you see, you draw up your first hand, you see Teklo Pounder, Spark of Genius Blue. You're starting so good with that. You play Teklo Pounder, you arsenal a card, and you don't arsenal the Spark so that just in case it's a CNC coming at you. But you play a Teklo Pounder, you tick up your pistol, and then next turn you Spark for 4, and then you play another you go get another Teklo Pounder, and then hope you see another one soon. But like, if you start the game like that, then you're doing great. And that's one way to win the game. You can either go full back and block hands a lot, play Pounders, look for those as fast as possible. You can also just play your regular game plan with 74 cards. And this is what I usually try to do versus Verdants, because Verdants can walk you down, they will hurt you, and it won't be fun. But you'll be able, and like just the fact that they have Storm Striders is what really scares me. Once you go below 10 life versus Verdants, you are in kill range. You better watch out, especially if you've popped your boots already. I would recommend keeping your boots for as long as possible. If you're at 7 life, you're dead. If you're below 10, it's a little iffy. So just know that Verdance will kill you on your turn, and it won't feel good. But honestly, most of the time, I'm just kind of running my normal game plan, unless it lines up perfectly to go Teklo Pounders, because these fatigue matchups still freaking hurt, man. Like the Jarl, they can still be coming at you for 9 dominate on hit bottom 2 cards at random. Or freaking really anything like that. They're still swinging 8, 9, 10, 11 damage at you. So you better be ready to block. You better be ready to conserve your life total so that whenever you do hit that hand that says, I'm going to turn this game around, you're able to actually turn the game around. So blocking is very important if you're going to play this game plan. But like I said, the deck's going to tell you what it wants you to do. You're not really going to have the choice of whether or not you get to play the full aggro or the full sit back block, because you're going to draw the Teklo pounders or you're not. So basically, you just got to do what the deck tells you to do. Next up, we will go into what exactly I played against at the tournament. So it was a pretty small tournament. It was only 18 people. So it was 5 rounds, and I knew that most X2s were going to make it in. So I knew that I had 2 losses to give, although my very first round was against the Dory. This was against the very, very fast Dory. They weren't even blocking me. They were just trying to race as fast as possible. And honestly, I prefer this. I think that we have a pretty good matchup into Dory, especially this type of Dory that's not really trying to fatigue us. They're trying to race us. So my game plan into Dory, especially race Dory, is so they'll get 1 or 2 counters. And then at a certain point, I will look at my hand and say, okay, cool, none of these are items. I'm going to give you all of my cards and my fridge and hope that you don't have Twinning Blade. That's basically my game plan. Is you're going to get 2 counters, and then I'm going to give you everything. And if you have Twinning Blade, then you probably win the game. If you don't, I mean, you just got a soul read. It's Dory. This is a classic, skill check for everybody that has ever played this game. And it just never lined up that way for me this game. I ended up losing it. I had definitely blocked incorrectly. At one point, I blocked with my helmet, with just my helmet and chest piece. And then that gets rid of 4 of the block, so I only have 1 block left on chest and the 3 from the adaptive plating. And I really shouldn't have done that. I should have let him get the counter and then swing back at him for big numbers again. But I didn't do that. I just misplayed. I don't know why exactly. I didn't do exactly how I beat Dory every single time. So kind of sad. Also versus Dory, I'm running 64 cards. And another thing I'm doing versus Dory, naming for null time zone, is usually just Sink Below. That's what I named for them last time. It never came into effect. I don't even think they ran Sink Below in their deck, or at least not versus me. I never saw one. But it's just like, that's usually my name if I don't know what I'm gonna name, or maybe like Route. They don't really want to play Route from hand. I don't know. It's not. I don't even think Dory's a running Route right now at all, actually. So maybe not a good name. Warriors Valor, something like that. If they're running, the 6 Warriors Valors, the reds and the blues. Just look for something that, if they've pitched yellow of something that's not a majestic, then I would name that every single time. Because if they're running the yellows, they're most likely running the reds and the blues. Or they're definitely running the reds, and they're probably also running the blues. So if you ever see them pitch something in yellow, then definitely take note for your later null time zone. But yeah, was not able to get there versus Dory, sadly. And then next we have a Vincent, Tyler on Vincent, also running 64 into this, just kind of, just playing my normal game plan, hoping that they don't cull me at a very inopportune time. So actually, I played against 2 Vincents this tournament, and neither of them really found their disruption versus me. And if they're just trying to trade damage, I will trade damage all day long. You're going to take 3 or 4 damage by yourself, and then I'm also just going to be dealing you a bunch of damage. So if you ever get to that point where you have to give me your whole hand, this game is way over. Because you're probably don't have your gloves by this point. You won't be able to make any more rune chants, really. If you want to try to keep cards to make rune chants, you're just dead. It's just, you're not going to be able to do anything for the rest of the game. So if you ever get them into the limbo of even blocking most of the cards from their hand, then you've just got that game in the bag. Next, I played against the Arrive on Aurora. And in this matchup, like I said, I'm running 60, -2 heist, -2 null time zones. and just trying to go as fast as possible. I ended up losing. She won the die roll and was able to go first, and that's just like really bad for me. I think it's like a 70-30 depending on who goes first. 70% for Aurora if they go first, and 70% for me if I go first and can set up an item. She got to go first, so was not able to get there. Ari is actually the person who won the Pro Tour, or not Pro Tour, the ProQuest the next day. So congratulations to her. That's really awesome. We're currently planning on Singapore right now. Then we've got Dane on Florian in round 4. This is one where I'm running all 74. And was honestly just like deck told me to go aggro. I can't remember if I played any max Vs in this game. I don't think I was really max Ving that hard in this game. I just kind of got there just playing efficient hands, playing with 74 cards. I ended up with like 20 cards left in my deck. So just was able to get there with efficient stuff. And then last round, so this is round 5, and I'm X2 right now, and I'm thinking it comes down to tiebreakers, and I'm a little scared. So I play against Aurora here, win the die roll, and I choose to go first, of course. And I set up a pretty nice little board. Pretty sure I started off with like a backup protocol red, and just kind of went in from there, and just like we played a really close game. He managed to get me down to about 2 life, but at that point, I took 4. They had 1 card left in hand. He goes 0 for 4. I'm at 6, and I just take it. And then after that, I have a 4-card hand and just strip all of cards every single turn. No equipment left. Just keep stripping your hand. So yeah, that was a really close game, really good game. And I go into the top 8 brackets with 3-2 with losses in round 1 and 3. I'm kind of freaking out, but thankfully for me, one of my friends, sorry Saren, was playing in round 5, and they had 1 out. All they had to do was play a sink below and draw a blue, but she ended up drawing a yellow instead and could not finish to block out the Phi or kill the Phi on their turn. She was playing as Saren. As Verdance. So the blue would have let them kill Phi on Phi's turn, but was not able to get there. So thankfully for me, that allowed me to get into top 8 at 8th seed, because she would have been 8th seed with losses in rounds 2 and 5. So everything kind of happens for a reason. I was able to sneak in at 8th seed, and I was looking at the bracket and was actually very happy to be 8th seed, because I figured the Phi and the Florian were both on the other side of the bracket from me. And every other matchup, I was like, I can win this matchup. So started off versus Tanner, who went undefeated on Verdance and Swiss at 1st seed, and I just absolutely rolled. That is probably the easiest game of Dash.io I've ever played. The deck just did. I played 74 cards, yet I saw it. The game lasted 6 turns, and I saw 3 max Vs in the first 5, with boom grenades behind it, with reds too. It wasn't even like it was a blue T-bone, yellow 0 to 60, blue 0 to 60 max V. It was red 0 to 60, red 0 to 60, and Sprocket Rocket for a max V turn. Like, it was just insane how well my deck did. I do not know how that happened. He shuffled my deck for me, and I think that he legit did not want to play the game. He just stacked it for me, I think. That was really fun. Sorry about that one, Tanner, but it's all good. Managed to go into Vincent the next round against Dan. This is one of my locals who I play against every Friday, and this dude beats my ass every Friday. It's so annoying. He's very good Vincent player. I was a little scared of this one. I know that I can beat the Vincent pretty easily. I like that matchup, but Dan is the person I'm scared of, not really his hero. This one I run 64-2 again. Same game plan as against Tyler in round 2. But again, like, this game wasn't really like Dash.io just kind of fucking DIO'd like she does sometimes. This game was actually really close, really like we went into every single turn cycle kind of trying to outvalue each other, trying to find everything that we could possibly get. but he just wasn't able to find his like really good disruptive turns. He had a face perg that was good, but it just like never really lined up with his disruptive turn versus my turn where I'm just gonna go okay item pass. So that kind of just worked out for me. Like I said, especially with Dio, you need a little bit of luck. You need the deck to like you, and if it does, then that's how you win with this deck. That's how you win tournaments in general. Like I think that it's a card game. Everything requires a little bit of luck. This one maybe a little bit more, but that's neither here nor there. And then finally, I see Nick Bova on Fi. Thank God, Nick, you were able to beat the Florian. Because I'm scared of Florian and Fi. I think both of those are equally as hard. Maybe Florian's a little bit worse, which is why I was excited for Fi because I think I can actually beat Fi. Like that's kind of fine. But this matchup I ran the same again as I do against Aurora. I cut the null time zones, cut the heist. Honestly, this matchup makes me want to bring back in the one block boots, just because it's another turn where I get to block a Phoenix Flame, and they can't proc Mask of the Pouncing Links on it. This deck is the only deck in the game right now that I think actually outraces Dio. I think Mask of the Pouncing Links is super, super strong. I think it makes Fi one turn faster than Dio, even on high roll. Of course, there's like a super high roll. Like if I had gotten like what I get against Tanner, then like this game's not a game. But it's just like it's just it's just so consistent. It's just so fast with Pouncing Links. I'm very scared of this deck. I think this might be the best aggro deck going into the next meta as Aurora leaves because it can also beat the fatigue. It can also smash the fatigue easily. Like I think that Fi versus Florian and Jarl is very Fi favored. But that's neither here nor there. I am just glad that at the end he wasn't really able to find a good Pouncing Link's turn and ended up having to block with it at one life because I go max V, block it, you're at one life, or maybe it wasn't max V, but it was like big attack, you're at one life, you have to block, and then pop my boots, kind of took him off guard with popping the boots into pistol, and made him block with the Pouncing Links or a card from hand, and it was just like, at that point, I just take the tempo and am able to win the game. But yeah, that was my tournament. Seriously, shout out to everybody who I've ever talked to. Shout out to everybody in the Dash.io Discord. Love y'all. Like, y'all are all super fun. I love coming out and streaming. I love making these videos. I have just had a really good time getting better at this game and learning a lot. And I really attribute it all to everybody I've ever talked to. And this Codex Journal here has really helped me out a lot as well. But yeah, I appreciate it. Leave a like and subscribe, just help out the algorithm a little bit. Leave some comments. Let me know if I should extend my Singapore journey a little bit and if I should try to hit up like Bangkok or Phuket or maybe something else around that area of the world, maybe some Seoul. I don't know. Let me know if there's anywhere else in that area that I should check out or if there's anywhere in Singapore that you know of that I should stay, visit, or eat. I am definitely willing to try out anything that y'all can leave in the comments. Thank you very much. Leave a sub. We are almost at 450, and peace out, everybody.